Hi, everybody. Welcome to
What?
this week's episode of Decoding Your Superpowers. We are your superpower partners here today.
Yeah,
I'm Teresa Lisum with my friend and fellow coach.
Linda Karchner.
Hi, Linda. So glad to have you here and so glad to have everybody who's listening in. Thank you for being here. This is
Yeah.
our point in the week where we like to geek out on
Yeah.
our strengths concept, our superpower concept that
Mhm.
we have found to be really empowering for us personally. And we want to share that sense of empowerment with others. So
Mhm.
that's why we do this.
Right.
This is important for self-awareness using the tool of the Gallup Strengths Assessment.
Hmm.
So we're going to, you typically focus on the top 10. That's
Sure.
our zone of genius.
Right. And that's
And
where
we have
we
talked
usually
about
spend
the
most of our
middle.
time. That's
Yeah,
where we
that's where we spend
usually
most
spend
of the
most
time.
of our time.
And we've given lots of different dimensions and
Uh,
nuances. So we want to remind you that the middle set of strengths, we don't really go into those. They're pretty neutral in terms of energy. So the top 10 are where you're real energized, your highest energized, your highest creativity, productivity. That's where you're at your best. The middle are like, yeah, yeah,
you're
neither
right.
here nor there. And then today's focus is going to be on the bottom five. So the
Right.
bottom five strengths are where we're not as energized. We
Mhm.
might be de-energized. It might suck energy out of us.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They're just not serving us in any way, shape, or form. It's actually where we're probably the least authentic,
Hmm.
and they're just not doing anything for us.
Hmm.
So please, any thoughts you want to add to those bottom five while I grab our report today we're going to look at.
Well, one of the things that people think when they try to tap into those bottom strengths is that they're going to use those strengths in their highest form and most energizing way possible. But really, what ends up happening is you use those bottom strengths in the basement of those strengths because they are not your superpowers, they're your kryptonite. You end up kind of with the dark side of those strengths.
Yeah.
And it, we think if we could just do those strengths the way someone who is energized by it does it, that we could perform better, we could meet certain needs better, we could do whatever better. But we just cannot because, like you said, it sucks the energy out of us.
Right. And they're not weaknesses. Just
No.
because they're at the bottom of the list does not mean they're
Yeah.
weaknesses.
Uh-uh.
They're just not serving us. They're just
Yeah.
not for us. And I don't want to say they're against us, but they're
Right.
just not where we're our best.
Mm-hmm.
We can dip there and use them, but
Mm-hmm.
it's going to drain us possibly. And I know
Right.
you've had that experience
Oh, yeah.
where it drained you,
Absolutely.
but you want to get back out of there as soon as possible and go to those
Mm-hmm.
top 10 where you're going to be energized and everything's
Mm-hmm.
just going to all come together for you. So let's take a look at, can you see them?
Yeah.
The
Mm-hmm.
report? Okay.
Yep.
So this is what the zone of genius we're talking about right here is 1 through 10. The middle is, I'm going to say 11. That's not
Mm-hmm.
100% true, but we're for today's purposes, we're going to say 11 through 29.
Right.
Don't pay attention too much. There's a little bleed over between where they transition at both
Mm-hmm.
ends, but we're going to focus on these bottom five.
Mm-hmm.
This particular report has some mostly influencing now that I look
I
at it.
noticed that. Yeah, I noticed
There's
that
a
last week.
grouping of the orange, which are the influencing category or influencing domain. Now, that doesn't mean this person can't influence others.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just that's not their goal. Their
Right.
goal is not to move people forward.
Uh-huh.
They can do it with their other strengths, with their relationship building strengths,
Mm.
which they're really solid in
Mm.
based on their top 10. But their goal in life is not to
Right.
move groups of people from point A to point Z and can see all the steps in between. So let's take a look at those. And how do you want to approach these bottom strengths, Linda?
Yeah, maybe we'll just go through them strength by strength. Start with number
Okay.
30
Okay.
and work our way
Um,
down.
yep. So we have some particular statements that we like that we call it, we don't have to. Like, we don't have to do this because
Mhm.
they're our bottom strengths. And for a lot of people, it's a sigh of relief, like, oh,
Yeah,
thank God we don't have to do
right.
that. So we have some statements that kind of allow us to release these bottom strengths, release them with love
Hmm.
and gratitude. Thank you very
Right,
much. I'm glad we don't have to
right.
do that.
Yeah. And this is always where awareness is so beneficial because when you're aware that you don't have to approach a situation with that strength, you can also be aware of people in your life that you can partner with
Mhm.
who do that well, who do that strength with energy. And so I don't have to approach this situation with this strength. I get to partner with
Mm,
a spouse or a friend or a coworker who can do that.
I love that. That's
That's how we can work together.
beautifully said. Since we can't all embrace and
Right,
embody all of these strengths at the same level,
right,
you're right. This is where we get to connect with others who can help us fill in the gaps and, use their strengths
right,
in their own unique way. So, yeah, I love that. It's all about collaboration and
right.
working with the rest of the human
Yeah.
race.
Yeah.
So this particular person has significance at number 34.
Okay.
So this person does not have to be very important in the eyes of others.
Mhm.
This person does not have to be independent or want to be recognized.
Mhm.
So, it's because there are some people in the world that they love
Yeah.
recognition in a good way. They want to impact others.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
want to,
They want to
um,
make a difference.
yes, they
And they
want to
want
make a
people to
difference.
know that they were part of that impact.
Hmm. They created this, and this is a really out there example. They donated to create that hospital wing
Yeah.
with their name on it. That's a
Right.
really, really extreme
Mhm.
example,
Right.
but that makes them very proud, makes them feel really good about themselves. They know they've impacted their community with that hospital wing.
And probably this person would be like, oh, yeah, I use the word hate carefully because that used to be a mom bad word when my kids were growing up. I I hate people that they make it all about themselves. I feel so uncomfortable
Yes,
when people
yes.
are wanting recognition and wanting their name on buildings and wanting things named after them or whatever. So, they almost might have sort of a visceral reaction
Oh, yeah, good
to
point.
people who have significance high. And knowing again, but what we were saying a couple minutes ago, knowing that this is actually a strength. And for people who have it high, it's a strength.
Yes.
Be relieved, be reassured. You don't have to be that person. You can
And
do what are called to do, are meant to
right,
do, designed to do without worrying about having your name be at the top of the list.
right. And knowing that that person, that's important to them, they're impacting the world in that way.
Hmm.
You're impacting the world in a different way
Hmm.
based on who you are and what your strengths are that you bring to the world.
Yeah. Yep.
So maybe that would make that more of an acceptable thing for that person instead of being judgmental of that person. Be grateful that that person is
Hmm.
able to do that and desires to do that. Because I don't want to do that. But I'm so grateful that there are people who do want to do that
Uh,
because they're being of value to their
oh,
community.
absolutely. And they are empowered to change the world.
And they take the action. They
Yeah.
they make
Yeah.
things, happen that way. Do
Hmm.
I want to do that? No. My
No,
significance is not that low, but it's pretty low.
mine's pretty low too. Yeah. Yeah. Mine's 24.
Yeah, so we're so grateful there are people that choose to put in the effort and the time
Yeah.
to use their significance in the world.
Yep.
But this
Yep.
particular person who owns this report, they don't have to worry about that.
Hmm.
And then I was just going to say comparison,
Mm.
because we have a tendency to compare ourselves to others.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, I must not be worth anything because I wasn't able to create such a huge, impactful hospital wing for my
Mhm.
community. Therefore, I'm not as valuable. No,
Right.
that is not true.
Right.
That is not.
Exactly.
So comparison does not come into play here.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to, scoot up to their top 10 for a minute, their connectedness, um, that's to me, this is what I call it like the ripple effect strength.
Love that.
When you have connectedness high, you know that what you're doing has a ripple effect. It impacts, there's connections, there's bridges. So, like it's more kind of that inner knowing rather than an
Mhm.
outward recognition of other people. You know, in your heart of hearts, that what you're doing, maybe it's just for one person, maybe it's for your elderly neighbor, but you
Mhm.
know that it has that ripple effect into, humanity.
Right.
So
Right.
that's to me, that's how I view my significance. Like I know
hmm
by helping the least of these that is is significant.
Yep. So I thank you for connecting that to the word and the strength connectedness, meaning we can do whatever we need to do to stand in or substitute those bottom five. Like you just said, instead of significance, this person uses their connectedness
Right.
to stand in and to do those impactful things.
Mhm.
So yeah, thank you. I'm even looking at, belief, harmony. There's multiple strengths that could combine
Absolutely.
together
That
to,
achiever, just
yep, to
doing, the
substitute.
person who's a doer.
Yes. So they are using other strengths from their top 10
Mhm.
in order to make an impact in the world.
Mhm.
So go ahead. You want to grab
Yeah,
communication at
communication.
33? And
Yeah.
this person does not have to.
No, this person, oh, I don't have the list in front of me, so I'll
Oh,
have to have you read it.
okay.
Yeah.
This person does not have to find it easy to put their thoughts into words. So
Mm.
this person does not have to worry about putting their thoughts into words.
Hmm.
They don't have to be a good conversationalist or a presenter.
Mm. And talking is a big thing in our society,
hmm
communicating. And a lot of times when someone sees a person who does not have communication high, they think that they're shy or they're standoffish, maybe because they don't talk a lot. But this person, like, they can give themselves permission to not have to be the conversationalist,
hmm
not have to carry a conversation.
Good point.
And, for me, communication is 10. So that's like, this is something that yeah, I kind of do naturally. But the person who doesn't do that naturally and it doesn't energize them, they can be the strong silent type.
Hmm. Supporting from the back,
Hmm.
just being that support person, that encourager, that person who is doing the back work.
Right.
Just looking at some of those top 10 strengths
Yeah,
that
I
could
know. Like,
stand in for communication. Positivity, I can see that working.
and this
Um,
person is a thinker, a
mhm.
learner and a thinker. And so, they're probably very smart, but
And a connector.
they don't like necessarily communicate that. Um, but they're the person that you could go to, like you said, the background person. They're the person you could go to research and to
Hmm.
fact check. And then the person who is the communicator can speak that truth that
Mm.
they have done the background on.
Love that. There's that partnering again,
Mhm.
connecting, collaborating with others. So yeah, so thank you for that. Then we have woo, which is blah, 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 winning
Yeah.
others over. It's just an acronym,
Hmm.
but it's just fun to say woo.
Yeah, that's right,
Um,
because that's kind of how it is.
so woo, the person with low woo,
Mhm.
they don't have to, you know, take on the challenge of meeting new people and winning them over.
Yeah.
In a, a group situation, they're not going to be the ones flitting around and
Hmm.
connecting and talking and chitter chatting with
Hmm.
other people
Right.
because they don't need to and they don't want to. And I'm sure it's
Right.
very de-energizing for them and
Yeah.
draining.
Yeah. This person is not the life of the party.
Right. And they don't have to be.
Yeah.
They don't
Maybe-
have to be. This
Right.
is like their
Exactly.
permission slip that they
Yep.
don't have to do that. I
Yep.
like that permission slip idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that too.
And they don't get any satisfaction from breaking the ice or making a
Mhm.
connection with another person, which is interesting because they're a connector, they're a
Right.
relationship builder. So
Hmm.
they love connecting with people, but they
Right.
don't have to be the life of the party and, the person that is keeping everybody's conversations going and
Mhm.
stepping into a new group and immediately introducing themselves to others.
Right.
That's a woo person. This
Yeah.
person loves to connect deeply. The
Hmm.
relator is right at number 4. So
Right.
deep connection, long-term
Sure.
relationships
Yep.
is what this
Small
person is all about,
relationship.
which is kind of opposite woo. Woo is a
Yeah.
little bit more superficial.
Right. Yeah. And it happens often that relator and woo are at the opposite ends of
Hmm.
someone's
Hmm.
strengths report. Not always,
Not
but
always.
often it is
Yeah.
that way. It's unusual if they're close together.
Hmm.
Uh, so
But it
yeah,
does
uh,
happen. It
yeah.
does happen. So this person can just be relieved that they don't have to step into a group and
Hmm.
carry the group.
Hmm.
That's not
Hmm.
them. They
Hmm.
can be part of the group
Right.
and they can connect with one person sitting
Mhm.
next to them and they can spend their whole time there and they're good with that.
Right.
They don't have to be flitting around like a butterfly to everybody. So,
Hmm.
and I'm sure many people with woo low are like, oh my God, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Because again, there's that comparison.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
compare, maybe you have a sister or something that is like that, and you
Right.
wish
Yeah.
you could be like
Yeah.
her, but you don't have to be like her because
No.
you're your own unique person.
Hmm.
So then we have includer at
Sure. Yeah.
31. So a includer does not have to be all accepting of others. They don't have to show awareness of those who feel left out or make an effort to include them.
Hmm.
So that kind of makes sense with the woo being down there as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It does make
So
sense.
this person doesn't have to encompass everybody they meet.
Right.
They can be more discerning and
Mm-hmm.
just pick and choose who seems right to them.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that smaller circle of
Right.
friends and people. And
Mm-hmm.
if there's somebody that's kind of sitting there by themselves, this particular person who owns this report does not have to feel a need to go over
Mm-hmm. And
and
break the ice.
exactly and
Trying to woo
engage and
them.
make sure they're okay. And
Yeah.
yeah, they don't
Yeah.
need to do that. They can leave that to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
They can partner again with
Mm-hmm.
that woo sister. Let's say, hey, can you go over there and make sure
Right.
they're okay, or whatever.
Right. Because, again, looking at, their top 10, they probably notice if people are by themselves,
Hmm.
but they cringe at the thought of being the one to go over and
Hmm.
break the ice. So, they can partner with someone. I
Yeah.
would say this person's positivity really helps them in interpersonal relationships, because I think that, someone who is not high with communication or woo or includer might seem to some people like they're like the word I said before, like really standoffish.
Hmm.
But when you get to know them, you're like, oh, this is really actually a very positive person who just
Hmm.
is careful and thinks through things. But
Yes,
once you're in their
yes.
inner circle, man, you're golden.
But we have a tendency to make assumptions right
Yeah,
away. I've done this myself, I will
yeah,
admit. I
yeah. I
made
have
some
to.
assumptions about a person who was looked very stoic and very, you know, uh, closed off from other people.
Mhm.
And within an hour, they proved me wrong,
Yeah,
because we connected, we
right.
ended up spending some time together. And I was like, oh yeah, like you said, this is a really awesome person.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry that I judged them in the first
Yeah,
minute, which is
right.
what we do as humans. We make those snap judgments,
Mhm.
and we really need to give ourselves to understand the person in front of us and to really get to know them and then
Mhm.
make a judgment.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, that's just human. That's just what our brain does,
Hmm.
to make us allow us to go through life in a more efficient manner. So I understand that.
Hmm.
Um, Knowing this information about people's superpowers, I think gives us the ability to take some time to
Hmm.
think like, oh, this person might be a relator. They might have that woo low and they don't have the energy to reach out and
Hmm.
be friendly right now, whatever. But I
Hmm.
think knowing these strengths have been really helpful that way. So I wanted to look at competition and maximizer, the last ones. Can you see the box around them?
I can, yes.
Okay. So I kind of grouped those together because we
Hmm.
already talked about competing, competition, comparison.
Hmm.
This comparing themselves to other people is not good for this person.
No.
It's just probably going to put them in a bad headspace.
Oh, yeah.
So they don't need to compare themselves. They don't need to win a particular, I don't know, conversation or an argument,
Right.
or it's not important to them.
Hmm.
But I
Hmm.
really wanted to point out the comparison element, which I always think of with competition.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then maximizer, um, this person doesn't have to seek to transform something strong and make it even better, even more strong, more
Hmm.
better, more improved, more shiny, more like
Hmm.
they don't have to take what's really doing fine and bump it up more.
Hmm.
Like that's not their have no interest in that. That doesn't excite them.
Right.
It does for some people.
Yeah, it does.
Like I have a
Absolutely.
daughter who's two daughters maybe that
Uh-huh.
have maximizer high, and one in particular loves to take something and
Uh-huh.
just like go over the top with it. That's
She
her
always
thing.
picks you.
What was that?
Is she always trying to fix you?
No, but
Make
she's
you
always
better?
trying to one up us, one up
Oh,
us,
okay.
one up us.
Oh,
And you could take that and be really offended by that.
yeah.
And I have heard where people
Yeah.
struggle being associated with a maximizer
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
because they feel they're never good enough for that maximizer. So
Mhm.
they take that very personally.
Yeah.
But that's just the maximizer doing their thing. They know
Yeah.
it's already good, but they can see where it can go up a notch.
Right.
That's their thing. But this particular person does not have to do that.
Right.
You
Yeah.
don't have to get that excellent rating, I guess. That
Mhm.
5-star rating is not important to them.
Right. Right.
They're
Yeah.
good
They don't
with
have to
1 or 2
take it from,
stars.
yeah, they don't have to take it from 4 stars to 5 stars.
Right, right. And they're good with that.
Hmm.
So, so like I know you emphasize the bottom five, and there are some coaches that we know personally that really focus on those
Hmm.
and allow a person to understand them. Me, not so much.
Hmm.
So we each have our own way of approaching
Right.
as a
Yeah.
coach these
Hmm.
bottom five. But I did have one coaching client once who wanted to bring up those bottom five and
Hmm.
shine them and I'm just going to say get tutored in them, which he didn't say that, but
Yeah.
because that's how we've been trained.
Right.
If you don't understand math, then we're going to get you a tutor and we're going to sharpen
Mhm.
your math skills. If you have trouble spelling, we're going to keep practicing with you till you
Mhm.
get your spelling,
Right.
ability increased. We don't need to do that with our bottom five strengths. Like,
Right.
don't even waste your time trying to move them up. First, it's not going to happen
Right.
without a lot of effort and stress. And secondly, you don't have to.
Right. Yeah. And which strength would you want to replace? Because
Yeah, right,
can't
right.
it just doesn't work. The math doesn't math. You can't have five number ones.
Right.
You can't have 34 number ones.
That's
So,
true.
which strength do you want to put in the bottom? Which strength do where do you want to move your bottom five? Like, how would your life be better? And I think too, part of the process is helping people see how they can do what they want, accomplish what they want through viewing how the bottom five does something, how they can accomplish that using their superpowers.
Right, correct, correct.
I actually have a lot of influence in our community. I'm the um, president of our local community playground. I do a lot of stuff at church, and I am not a high influencer, but I do that with my relationship building strengths
Mm-hmm.
and with my um, strategic thinking strengths,
Yes,
because I
yes.
think through things and I research things, and people know that they can trust me to, have
Mm-hmm.
done research. So, yeah, it's just so you can have influence in your own way.
Correct. Using
When,
all of your other
yeah,
strengths. Yeah,
yeah,
all of your other
yeah. And I
superpowers.
don't have woo high. I don't even have maximizer high.
So things are good enough, and you're
Yeah,
fine with that.
yeah.
Like a maximizer might almost be pushing towards perfection,
Mm-hmm.
which could be stressful to them if they're always trying to do that.
Yeah.
So, of course, there's a dark side to every single strength,
Mm-hmm.
and there's the light side. But
Mm-hmm.
I know you've mentioned before where you had to go down into your bottom five for a specific
Mm-hmm.
reason
Mm-hmm.
as part of your project. But once you use that
Right.
strength, you had to get out of it immediately
Mm-hmm.
and re-energize and reconnect and plug back into your
Yeah.
top
Command is
five.
my very bottom strength, and it's hard for me to, my husband would disagree, but it's hard for me to tell people what to do. Like, listen to what I say, do what I say because I said it. Oh, my kids would probably disagree with that too.
Well, that's just being a mom.
That's just being a mom, right? But it's not my favorite way to parent or to run an organization. Um, like I'm a team player,
Hmm.
that relationship building.
Yep. And again, you partner up with somebody who's
Yeah.
easeful at that,
Mhm,
who can do that easily, and people, follow that person because
mhm,
of their confidence in
mhm,
that
mhm.
particular strength.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots of nuances, lots of different ways of looking at strengths. And we hope that we have been introducing
Yeah.
you to several, too many, probably too many. And it might be too much for your brain to handle, and that's okay. But if
Right.
you just get the basic concept, then that will be enough. And then you move from there when you're ready. So just know that those bottom five, they're there, but you really don't have to worry about them, and don't try to force yourself to use those strengths because it's not going to serve you or anybody around you.
Mhm. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
You just get into the pits.
Yeah, that is true. The pits. So thank you everybody for listening in.
Yeah.
We did go a little
Everyone.
long today, but that's okay. I'm not sure. I don't think we'll be on next week.
Right.
I know, Linda, you can't, and I
Yeah.
have yet to be determined. So we
Yeah.
might be taking a couple of week hiatus, but you will definitely hear from us again. Oh, don't
Yeah.
you worry. You're not rid of us that easily. So I am going to throw this up there for those people that are watching on YouTube. Share, subscribe, comment, do all the things. If you have a report you would like us to look over and
Mhm,
dig into, you can send it to me or Linda. And then, of course, if you want a private,
mhm,
more a one-on-one, in-depth
mhm.
conversation, you can certainly reach out to me or Linda, and we will do that for you.
Yeah.
So thank you everybody for listening in. Linda, thank you
Everyone.
so much.
Yeah.
And we will
Always
see
good
you
to see you.
guys next time on Decoding Your Superpowers.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.